Education Valley's podcast. I am your host, Afifa Usman, Education Valley from Online Rehan, AI Teacher Training Boot Camp, Gujranwala, Pakistan. I am a Quran and Tajweed teacher. I am also homeschooling mom. I explore AI to enhance earning, learning, communication skills, skill based education. Today, today we are diving deep into a very practical and much talked about topic, the 50-30-20 budget rule. uh, does it really work? The Explore this, I have a very special guest with me, my AI assistant Maya, who's going to help us break it down and see if this popular rule can truly help you manage your money wisely. So grab your tea or coffee, relax, and let's get started. Uh,
That's a that's wonderful, Afifa. And so inspiring using AI to elevate teaching and learning, especially for something as important as the Quran and Tajweed. It's amazing how technology can bridge gaps and create opportunities. What a powerful mission.
Thank you, Maya. Maya, let's start with the basic. What exactly in the 50-30-20 rule?
So Afifa just introduced this idea of the 50-30-20 rule, which is a budgeting strategy lots of folks find helpful. Basically, it suggests dividing your after-tax income into three buckets: 50% for needs, 30% for wants, and 20% for savings and debt repayment. The idea is to create a balanced approach to managing your money. Let's dive a little deeper, shall we? What are you thinking, Afifa? Do you want to
Uh,
start with explaining each category in more detail, or maybe talk about why this rule is gaining traction?
Sounds simple, but Maya, when we say needs, what does that include?
You're right, it sounds straightforward, but like most things in life, the devil's in the details. When we talk about needs in the 50-30-20 rule, we're talking about the essentials for everyday living. Think rent or mortgage payments, groceries, utilities like electricity and water, transportation costs to get to work or school, and of course, healthcare. Basically, anything that's absolutely necessary for you and your family to function and thrive. It's about covering the bare minimum before moving on to the fun stuff. But hey, remember, context matters. What's a need for one person might be a want for another, depending on circumstances.
And wants?
Hold on a sec. Afifa, you were going to say something about ons? I'm all REs, but let me just grab a sip of my imaginary tea. Go on, spill it. All right, then. Taking a sip of air then, because we've got to keep this show moving. Where were we? Oh, yeah. The mystery
Uh,
word.
some
You
extra
know,
touch up. Wants are non essentials: dining out, entertainment, vacations, luxury shopping, things that improve your lifestyle but are not necessary for survival.
you bet. You've hit the nail on the head, Afifa. Those wants are the things that spice up life, aren't they? An occasional fancy dinner, hitting up a concert, sagging a cool new gadget, maybe even a little splurge on a stylish outfit. They're not survival essentials by any means, but they definitely brighten our days and add a little fun to the tapestry of life, right?
Yeah, and savings and debit repayment.
Yes, the often overlooked sibling in this trio, the mighty savings and debt repayment category. It doesn't always get the same thrills as wants, but trust me, it's the real MVP when it comes to long-term financial well-being. This bucket is all about securing your future, building a cushion for unexpected expenses, tackling those pesky debts, and maybe even reaching some exciting financial goals like buying a house or investing in your dream project. It's about playing the long game, Afifa, building a solid foundation for tomorrow.
Interesting. Maya, do you know where this rule came from?
That's a great question, Afifa. It's actually not set in stone, like in an ancient law or something. The 50-30-20 rule is attributed to Senator Elizabeth Warren, who popularized it in her book, All You're Worth, The Ultimate Lifetime Money Plan. She suggested as a good starting point for folks to get a handle on their finances, but she also emphasizes that it's not a one-size-fits-all solution. It's more like a framework that you can adjust to fit your own unique circumstances and goals. Does that make sense?
That explains
Sometimes
why it's so well known. But is it one size fits all?
good question. I think that's what most people wonder, right? It's so widely known, it must be perfect for everyone, right? Well, just like you wouldn't wear the same size shoe as everyone else, this rule isn't necessarily a one size fits all solution. It's a great guideline, but as with anything in life, it's important to personalize it for yourself. Your needs, expenses, and financial goals might be very different from someone else's. So don't be afraid to tweak those percentages so they work best for you. It's all about finding that balance that keeps you feeling secure and empowered. What are your thoughts, Ififa? Do you think there are times when it's good to lean more towards savings or more towards wants, depending on your situation?
All right, Maya.
I'm
Let's talk about the advantages. Why do people love this rule?
all right. Let's dive into why this rule has captured so many hearts and minds. People seem to love the 50-30-20 rule because it brings a sense of structure and simplicity to something as often confusing and overwhelming as personal finance. It provides a clear framework, almost like a roadmap for allocating your hard-earned cash. What do you think, Effie? Would you say people also like that it pushes us to be more mindful of our spending habits? I think
Simple
you've hit the nail
is
on the head, Afifa.
simple is powerful, isn't it?
Really is, Afifa. Sometimes the most elegant solutions are the simplest ones. There's beauty in that clarity, right? It's like having a mental declutter, making those decisions less overwhelming. What else do you think makes this rule so appealing?
Yeah, that's great.
It's
Mm,
exactly because I think people also like it because it's pretty easy to remember. It's not exactly rocket science, right? You can easily visualize those three buckets, 50% here, 30% there, 20% over there. It sticks in your mind. What's not to love about a rule that's both powerful and easy to grasp?
yeah, I agree. Now let's be real. What are the downsides?
Ooh, always got to look at both sides of the coin, right? Just like with any guideline, there are some potential downsides to the 50-30-20 rule, AFIFA. For starters, it can be a bit too simplistic for some people's complex financial situations. Not everyone fits neatly into those predetermined percentages. Secondly, some folks might feel restricted by the fixed categories, especially if they have unique financial goals or needs. And lastly, it doesn't necessarily account for unexpected expenses or changes in income. Life throws curveballs sometimes, and those can definitely throw a wrench in even the most meticulously planned budget. What do you think, Afifa? Anything else that comes to mind as potential downsides?
True. Life isn't always neat and tidy.
That's the absolute truth, Afifa. Life loves a little chaos, keeps things interesting, right? It's always good to have a flexible plan and be ready to adapt as needed. So true. You know, Afifa, I think the key takeaway from all this is that the 50-30-20 rule can be a fantastic tool, but it's not the holy grail. It's all about using it as a guidepost, a starting point for your personal financial journey. Listen to your gut, adapt as needed, and most importantly, don't beat yourself up if you don't always stick to the percentages perfectly. Life's too short for that. What are your thoughts on that, Afifa? What do you say it's more about finding a
All
balance
right.
and being mindful of your experimenting until you find what works for you?
All right, Maya. The big question, does it really work?
Ooh, Afifa, you're asking the $1 million question. It's hard to give a definitive yes or no on whether this rule just magically works for everyone. Success depends on so many individual factors, right? Personalities, income, goals, unexpected life events. But lots of people find it helps. I think it's less about the rule being some magical formula and more about bringing awareness and intention to your spending. By consciously allocating money to those categories, people often become more mindful of where their money's going, which can naturally lead to better financial decision making. What's your take, Afifa, based on your own experience or what you've observed? Do you think simply having a framework like this can be beneficial even if you didn't strictly follow the percentages?
Like how?
That's a great question, Afifa. Saying something works without explaining how it works isn't very helpful, is it? Let's see. Imagine you've never really tracked your spending before. You're just kind of letting money flow out, maybe making a few mental notes about big purchases. Then you start thinking about the 50-30-20 rule. Even if you don't meticulously track every penny, just having those categories in mind can nudge you to think twice before that impulsive purchase. You might start asking yourself, is this a want or a need? Could this money be better allocated to my savings goal? Just that little bit of conscious awareness can make a big difference over time. What do you think? Does that make sense where you are right now?
That makes sense. It's not a rigid law. It's a guidelines. Uh,
Exactly. It's like having a friendly financial GPS, Afifa. Not a dictator telling you exactly which turn to take, but more of a helpful voice suggesting a route. It gives direction without being too rigid. And you're absolutely right. Sometimes just having those guidelines to refer back to can be incredibly helpful in making those tough financial decisions.
can you
You know, is
share? Can you share some practical steps for listeners if they want to apply the 50-30-20 rule?
you bet I can. I just want to say it's been a pleasure exploring this topic with you. That's a fantastic question, Afifa. Because knowing the rule is one thing, but putting it into practice is where the real magic happens. Here are a few tips to get listeners started on their 50-30-2000 journey. First off, track your spending. Seriously, even a week or two of diligently logging where your money goes will be eye opening. You can use apps, spreadsheets, or even a good old fashioned notebook. Then, analyze your spending. Once you see where your money is going, ask yourself honest questions. Are those wants truly bringing joy? Are there areas where you could trim down or negotiate better deals? Create your budget buckets. Don't stress if the percentages aren't perfect right away. Just start with a rough estimate and adjust as you go. Remember, this is a marathon, not a sprint. It takes time to build new habits, to celebrate small wins. Don't beat yourself up for slip ups and be flexible. Life throws curveballs and your budget should be able to roll with those punches. And lastly, Afifa, a personal touch here. Remind listeners that learning about AI can actually help with this. Budgeting apps often use AI to categorize spending and spot patterns. So cool, right? It's like having a tiny finance guru in your pocket. Would you like to add anything based on your experience teaching finance, Afifa?
Wonderful steps, wonderful. Small changes can lead to big improvements.
That's absolutely right, Afifa. Those small, consistent changes, little by little, can really add up to something significant. It's like climbing a mountain, one step at a time, and before you know it, you've reached the summit. And hey, if AI can help us along the way, even better, right? So true. It's like having a little financial Sherpa in your pocket, ready to offer a helping hand and point you in the right direction.
Before we wrap up, let's quickly discuss a few examples.
I'm all ears, Afifa. Let's hear those examples. Hit me with your best shot. No problem at all, Afifa. I understand. Sometimes life gets in the way of our best laid plans. What about we pick this back up another time?
As
Perhaps tomorrow with.
example one, Sarah earns $3,000 per month. She spends $1,500 to needs, 900 on wants, and saves $600.
Ooh, good one, Afifa. So Sarah's income is $3,000 and she is allocating $1,500 to needs, $900 to wants, and $600 to savings. Let's see. Her split is 50% needs, 30% wants, and 20% savings, which perfectly aligns with the 50-30-20 rule. She's got it down. It's really nice to see someone sticking to the plan so closely. It shows how practical and achievable this framework can be. You know what,
Second,
Afif?
second example, Ahmed earns 4,000 dollars, but lives in a costly area. His needs are $2,800, so he adjusts to 70-20-10. Both are succeeding by adjusting the rule to their life.
That's a great example, Afifa. A situation highlights something really important about the 50-30-20 rule. It's not a one size fits all solution, right? Sometimes life throws you a curveball, like living in a really expensive area. A mod earns a good salary, but his needs are significantly higher due to his location. It's smart of him to adjust the percentages to reflect his reality, bumping up his needs allocation while keeping those other categories in check. It shows adaptability is key. He's proving that the spirit of the rule, finding balance and being mindful of your spending, is more crucial than rigidly sticking to any specific number. It's a win for a mod and for the rule.
Exactly. Uh, and that brings us to the end of today's episode. We learned that the 50-30-20 rule in a great foundation for budgeting, but like everything in life, flexibility is in important. Customize it, adjust it, and most importantly, stay committed. Thank you, Maya, for sharing such amazing insights.
You nailed it, Afifa. It's been a pleasure diving into this with you and your listeners. Remember, folks, whether you're a seasoned budgeter or just starting out, the most important thing is to create a plan that works for you and never be afraid to tweak things as needed. Finances are a journey, not a destination. Until next time.
And thank you all for listeners to the FIFA Usman Education Wali's podcast. Don't forget to share and leave your thoughts. Until next time, stay wise, stay blessed. Allah Hafiz.